The last one was looking at teaching and learning.
Wonderful. Thank you very, very much. All right, on that note, we need to move on. There's something I want you to remind me towards the end. Hopefully I'll have time. Remind me to talk about sandwich, right? Remind me to talk about sandwich, right? Do we have a deal? Will you remind me? Because I'm likely to forget. So remind me to talk about sandwich when we come to the end. Right, moving on. Right, we have got on the left-hand side a few points, and then we've got others on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, we've got being accountable, right? On the left-hand side, being accountable for quality assurance done to you, imposed by someone else. And then on the right, we've got being trusted for development, done with you, owned by you. Right. So looking at these, owned by you for your learning. Right. Owned by you for your learning. What comment can you say? Once again, I want someone who hasn't raised their hand and spoken since the session started. What can you say about those points, comparing what is on the right hand to what is on the left? What are your comments? What do you get from these? How do they strike you? Anyone who hasn't raised their hand and spoken yet in this session, I would like you to raise your hand and I give you an opportunity to talk. You know what would be a tragedy is that we go through this whole course right up to the end, and you walk out of this course having been quiet for every session, as if you were not even present. Right, thank you very much, Kesari Mugariwa. Please unmute and talk to me. Right, Kesari, please unmute your microphone and then share with us your response to the question I've asked.
On the left side, it's more to do on the leader himself. And on the right, more of on the organizational aspect.
All right, interesting view. Thank you, Mr. Mugariwo. Appreciate it. So he says on the left, it's more to do with the leader himself, and on the right, it's more to do with the organization. Great. May we hear a different perspective? Anybody else? Once again, someone who hasn't raised their hand and spoken since we started this session today, who would like to raise their hand and speak? Thank you, Kesari. I appreciate your answer. Another person who hasn't spoken yet? All right, let me ask somebody. Eminon Maveneka, are you there? Eminon Maveneka, please unmute and talk to me. Eminon Maveneka. What is your comment, Eminon, on the issues on the right compared to the ones on the left? Eminon, you unmuted and then you muted again. If you are speaking, you are on mute. We can't hear you. Eminon, please unmute. Maveneka, yes, you are unmuted now. Please speak. Are you muted back again? You unmuted and then you quickly muted. Please unmute and then speak. Eminon, just try that. Touch the microphone button just once. Just once, touch it lightly once so that you are unmuted and then you can talk. You're probably talking now, but you are on mute, so we can't hear you. Eminon, can we try that one more time? All right, looks like for now we did not succeed, but we don't give up, we'll keep trying. So my take on this is that these are different perspectives of considering monitoring and evaluation.
Hello?
And yes, who's this? Yeah, Eminon, well done, yay! Please go ahead, talk to us.
My brother Ngoshi, right? Sorry, I can't see the screen. So maybe my Jamie.
No problem.
And I'm trying my best, but I'm now on the. Hello?
Let me read to you, Eminon. On the left side, there is being accountable for quality assurance done to you, imposed by someone else's agenda. That is on the left. And then on the right, there's being trusted for development done with you, owned by you for your learning. Those are the two. Now let me hear your comment on those two. Left contrasting it to the right.
I'm talking. I think the right one is fine for me because they are talking of ownership and account by yourself rather than imposed by somebody.
Right.
So I would go for the right side.
Fantastic. I totally agree with you. I see there are a few more hands up, but sorry, I have to move on now. I'm actually running seriously behind time. However, I hope you are getting what I'm saying. These are two different perspectives of looking at monitoring and evaluation. If your staff members in particular, if the perspective they have of monitoring and evaluation is on the left, you are not likely to achieve much success. Where they just think, oh, this is just being done to be accountable. It's for quality assurance. It's done to me. It's imposed on me by someone else. There is very low levels of ownership or motivation. If you look on the right side, on the other hand, if your staff members feel, hey, I am trusted, and this is being done so that I prove my worth and I improve. This is being done for my development. It's being done with me. It's owned by me. It's for my learning. Then your success is assured. Your monitoring and evaluation will be a success. So the challenge is on you, the leader. What environment are you creating? Are you creating an environment where monitoring and evaluating is associated with the more negative aspects on the left side, where it's being imposed and I just have to do it to fulfill this crazy headmaster's demands? Or it's more on the right side, where people feel, yes, we are empowered. We are growing as a result of the monitoring and evaluation. It is for our own development. So where are you as a school leader? I don't want you to give me an answer, but you know yourself. Where are you? Are you lying more on the left side, on the right side, in the middle? And where would you want to be? That's the big question. Where would you want to be? All right, let me just see. Somebody's typed something in the chat. It's a long time since I checked the chat. All right, this was Nara. Nemio says, right side is how, left side is why. Okay, interesting. On the left side, it's subjective. On the right side, it's objective. That's Chamuka Tevedzerai. Thank you very much for your views. All of them greatly appreciated. So let's move on. Now, in order for us to make sure that when we monitor and evaluate, we are getting information that is valid, that holds water, that is not biased, it is important for us to do something called triangulation, right? Our famous reader from day one, Winai, can you please read for us? If you can see what is on the screen, can you read it out quickly?
Principles of triangulation. Triangulation requires evidence from several sources to be able to offer developmental advice. Triangulation of evidence ensures, as far as possible, the validity and reliability of information gathered. Oof. Oh.
What? You can't see now?
Let me come back to the meeting. Sorry. Hey, you're right. Triangulation of evidence ensures, as far as possible, the validity and reliability of information gathered. How important is it to triangulate evidence in monitoring and evaluating teaching and learning? What value can triangulation add to the monitoring process? Thank you.
Fantastic. So in the interest of time, I'm going to move a little bit quicker. But the bottom line is, I hope you understand that when we say triangulate, we are saying we are getting information from multiple sources, multiple sources of evidence, so that we make informed decisions. Are we together? Yes or yes? Right, moving on. So let's look at triangulation, or an example of triangulation, right? So the first source in this case is we go to the students' math books. We say, let's just see what is happening in the quality of math teaching and learning in this school. And when we check out the students' math books, we find that students' work indicates insufficient progress. Students don't appear to understand the mathematical concepts they have been taught. And then we say, hey, what needs to be done? Right. But can we enrich our information? Could we get further insight into this problem? So far, we've only looked at one source, the students' math books. Right. We then decide, all right, let's move on to another source of evidence. So we move to a second source, lesson observation. Maybe the head teacher goes in to observe the lesson and writes observation notes. So the notes recorded indicate the teacher lacks some key subject knowledge in relation to the maths topics being taught. So now we've got two sources. One, we started with the books. They told us one story. Now we have gone to observation. We're also learning one story. And they seem to be supporting each other. And we say, well, maybe before we make a decision, let's just try and find information or evidence from another source. So we go to a different source. And this time, we have a discussion with the teacher. Sit down with the teacher and have a friendly, open discussion, not threatening, not being abrasive, but being very open and supportive. And it turns out, the teacher reveals he did study maths when training as a teacher, but didn't do very well in his maths exams. And he has had no professional maths development since then. So we have now come full circle. We have looked at three sources. The third source has been the teacher himself. The second source was observation. The first source were the students' books. Right. So, armed with this, what strategies do you think we could use in order to help the situation? In very, very briefly, I want one person to just tell us a possible strategy you could now adopt, having been armed, empowered by your findings from the triangulation. One person who hasn't spoken in this session since we started, I would like you to raise your hand. This time I'll be strict, only one person. Right. Munyaradzi Vurino Sara, you spoke. Thorpe, didn't you speak? I think you spoke as well. I want someone who hasn't spoken. Sorry, Munyaka and Thorpe. Tima Chaka, you've spoken as well. I want someone who hasn't spoken yet. The three of you have spoken, and I love it. Thank you for being very active. But I want to give a chance to somebody who hasn't spoken. Let's hear from somebody who hasn't spoken. Thorpe, you can put your hand down. I'm not choosing you, my brother. You've already spoken. Machaka, you've spoken more than once. I'm not giving you an opportunity this time. I want to hear from someone who hasn't spoken. I'm waiting. Somebody raise your hand. Please, if you know you haven't spoken in this session, Tendai Makombe. Thank you. Please unmute and talk. What strategy would you use, given what we found out from triangulation?
Okay, we employ the continuous professional development program for the teachers.
Fantastic, Tendai. Thank you so much for blessing us with your wondrous voice. May I make a suggestion? I would like you to raise your hand more often and speak to us more frequently. Otherwise, this is a travesty of justice because you are denying us the privilege of hearing that amazing voice and those in-depth thoughts. Marina Lovemore, you're welcome. Marina Lovemore, please unmute and talk. Marina Lovemore, your hand is up. Please unmute and talk. Tendai Makombe, you can mute your microphone now. Yes, Lovemore, go ahead. Oh, Lovemore, you've muted again. I didn't hear what you said. Network is giving a bit of a problem. Just unmute and talk to us again. Lovemore. Oh, did anybody hear that? The network is kind of bad. I can't hear. Can you shout, Lovemore?
Staff development.
Staff development. Yeah.
love, love, love.